We're back on the Aggie Nation Podcast. Travis, A&M Hoops, can they find a way to get it going? We'll see. They've won 4 out of the last 5, and now comes a big home game at home against top 10 Tennessee, top of the conference. I don't know, Travis. What are you thinking?
Yeah, this is going to be you don't want to put too much weight on it because it is a huge game. If A&M wins, this can completely change the makeup of what their resume is. But it's not a game that they're necessarily picked to win. And if they lose, it's not, oh my gosh, the NCAA tournament is out of the picture. I think when most bracketologists are looking and formulating their mock brackets and looking at where teams will be when the end of the season, I don't think any of them have A&M winning this game. So when you look at Joe Lunardi or some of these people that have A&M on the bubble, they have them on the bubble projecting that they'll probably lose this game. Ken Pom has them losing this game. Bart Torvik has them losing this game. So it would be like icing on the cake for the A&M basketball team and A&M fans if they could win this game. But I don't think it's the end of the world if they lose it because I don't think anybody necessarily has them winning this game. It's the games like they need to win against South Carolina coming down, who is a really hot South Carolina. They need to win against Georgia down the line. They need to beat Vanderbilt. They need to beat some of these teams that are under them. Those would be the really detrimental games to lose coming down the line when it comes to getting them in the NCAA tournament. This is a good test game coming up this weekend.
I think this next 5-game stretch is going to be critical. February seems to be where Buzz's teams have kind of hit their stride the last couple years, and it's looking like this A&M team is starting to show signs that they might be headed that way. This 5-game stretch is bookended by games against Tennessee, obviously at home. This Saturday, in a couple weeks, they go and play in Knoxville. Between there, of course, they got a home game against Arkansas. They go at Alabama. That's going to be a tough place to play. And then they get another road game at Vanderbilt, a team you just mentioned. Mm-hmm. You know, A&M's finally over 500 in conference play after a pretty tough start, couple of bad losses to LSU and Arkansas, who have really struggled. But, you know, something that I've noticed is that, man, Tyrese Radford, the last 2 games, he has been consistent and he has been a scorer. And that's something we've talked about in the past is, can somebody step up and kind of complement Wade Taylor in a way that, you know, A&M's got multiple options on a consistent basis?
Tyrese Radford has been and can be an elite talent in the SEC. He hasn't shown he showed that his first season at A&M when he shot over 40% from 3-point range, and then came back last year and shot over 30% from 3-point range as well. This season has been a struggle, and I think a lot of people want to point to his 3-point percentage as one of the reasons why he's really struggled this year. In reality, the thing that helps A&M the most the last 2 years in the way that they play offense is his ability to get to the rim, score, and have a high percentage of scoring layups at the rim, and then also getting fouled and being one of the top 2 in free throw percentage in the SEC last year was what really helped A&M. He got hurt in that Florida Atlantic game, and Buzz Williams finally kind of shed enough light in the sense that he said with both Henry Coleman and Tyrese Radford, they've been on the mend. I mean, Tyrese Radford, for all medical purposes, is cleared and close to 100% as any player's going to be at this time of the season. But when you suffer torso injuries and contact injuries, there might just be a little bit of that mental hesitation. I equate it to when a pitcher has Tommy John. That first season coming back and throwing a slider, throwing those pitches that really put strain on the elbow. Sometimes that breaking pitch, that hard slider just isn't there this season because they're just it's not even like they're thinking like, oh my gosh, what if I bust my elbow again? It's just that there's a tentativeness there that they just have to break through. And sometimes it's just continuing to play and get experience and knowing like, okay, I'm not going to get hurt again. I'm not going to be in pain again. Getting their mind subconsciously through that. And I think that's what Tyrese Radford has been going through, at least according to what Buzz Williams said. And it shows because he is more aggressive in initiating contact when he gets to the rim. And when he gets to the rim, has the wherewithal to kind of see his points on the. I mean, he made a great shot to start out. I think it was the game last night where he was kind of going down and he was a little bit outside the lane and banked the shot off one-handed, kind of a hook shot type thing. Was really good, and he's continuing to increase his percentage at the free throw line. That's that kind of support that Wade Taylor needs to be able to manage the offense better and not have to feel the weight of the world on his shoulders to pull in A&M wins. So I think having Tyrese Radford back is a key. The other thing about this too is when you look at the efficiency metrics, A&M's defense has A&M's offense has fallen off. I mean, they were as high as in the top 5 in the country coming through non-conference play, but their defense was would be outside the top 100. They were letting teams. They were going into games like for instance that Houston game was kind of a boat race. It was a little bit of a shootout, but their defense has gotten exponentially better as they've gone through conference play to the point where it's almost inside top 50. They're both their offense and their defense are right at the top 50 mark in offensive and defensive efficiency, and their defense has been able to help them play better offense. So that's another thing to look at is, the offense has tailed off and has been ugly at times, but the defense has been a lot better for this team moving forward. And as any of the Ken Palms or the analytics people know, you need to be definitely inside the top 50, and it even helps more to be inside the top 30 if you're going to be a real deep run NCAA tournament chance. The numbers match up with that.
Well, A&M's defense is going to have to be sharp on Saturday because they're playing Dalton Connect, the guy who, A&M's got the preseason SEC Player of the Year. Well, Tennessee's probably got the guy who's going to end up being the SEC Player of the Year when the season ends.
And in all reality, Tennessee has a lot more to play for in this game because they are looking to try to get in on that one-line action. They had a loss already to South Carolina, which it would turning out to be a better loss than probably it was maybe looking at first, but they need to keep winning ball games if they want to have aspirations to be a one seed team in this NCAA tournament. So in essence, you might argue that they have more to play for in this game. But you're right, Dalton Connect is been the highlight of. I think he's averaging over 25 points in his last handful of games or so, and is going to be a handful for this A&M defense to look at. He's probably going to be the guy that Solomon Washington guards. You would think because of his ability to defend, and he's going to be that. You look at what the game last night. Solomon Washington, he had 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, he had to sit for a while.
They're going to go after Solomon Washington with him and try to get him into foul trouble. He's got to be smart in this game to stay on the floor because beyond Solomon Washington, Jace Carter at times has proven he could be an okay defender and an okay replacement. But once you get past him, they might have to put Radford on him. I don't know who matches up well against him.
Do you put Andy on him maybe?
Yeah, but Andy, you don't want Andy way out on the perimeter. Yeah, he's gonna, but you don't want Andy to be the primary defender on the guy that's gonna drive. You want him to be the secondary defender to get himself into position to get those defensive rebounds.
Sure.
In fact, if you look, one of the changes, and Buzz Williams on the radio show talked a lot about how they've kind of changed how they play defense against Florida, and that carried over into the Missouri game. And I believe a lot of that is having Andy as more of the what they call the low man. He's kind of the help defender down low. And that enables him to be down there a little bit more of a primary rebounder. Usually, that can rotate because they're a little bit, especially when A&M gets into rotation. But that was a little bit more of Henry Coleman's role before, and Anderson Garcia has slotted into that. So in essence, he's the down low defender in their defense, and you don't really want to pull him out of that. If Solomon Washington were to get into foul trouble and you pull him into that role, that would completely mess with the entire formation of how they've been playing defense lately. I don't think you want to do that. So a key to watching that game is if Solomon Washington can stay out of foul trouble.
Well, and Robert Cessna, our sports editor, he pointed out that, in the second half, A&M kind of switched up that defense like you were talking about, playing kind of more of a zone, and Florida really stopped being so hot shooting threes, and I don't think Missouri was knocking them down like crazy last night either. Tennessee's a team, they can knock down some threes, and that's where some an area A&M's probably got to look out for. I definitely thought last Saturday was probably Solomon Washington. It could have been one of his best games of the year. He was really sharp on both ends of the court against Florida, in my opinion. Yeah,
and has shown a little bit, both him and Anderson Garcia, while they're certainly not going to be the guys who are backs to the basket posts with a high scoring line. They've shown more propensity to engage themselves in scoring and not just be defensive rebounding guys. I mean, Garcia had 5 assists in that game, which is a career high. He is a great passer from the post, but he has shown willingness to get the ball, take a couple dribbles, and make a post move to get to the post, more akin to what Henry Coleman has kind of made a name for of himself. The other thing, too, that to note coming into this game is Henry Coleman did get hurt at the end or midway through the second half of that Missouri game. After the game, Buzz Williams said that it's not the same injury that he suffered in Kentucky against Kentucky that kept him out for a game and had a slow build back into play. It's a different injury. It wasn't the same hit. So he said he thinks because of that he'll be, in quotes, okay. But I don't know if that means he is going to be okay for moving on in the season or if he's going to be okay for Tennessee, and that'll be another factor. But in essence, I mean, Henry is a key cog to everything they have to do, but he has faded into the background as Solomon Washington and Anderson Garcia have proven their value both defensively and in the rebounding game. And what they've been able to, they're not going to have the same offensive production as Henry Coleman, but I would argue you can't pull Garcia or Solomon Washington off the floor because of what they bring defensively. And for as good as Wade Taylor is offensively for A&M, Solomon Washington is that defensively for A&M.
A&M's going to have to play sharp. They're going to have to play smart. They're going to have to play in control if they want a chance to beat Tennessee. That's a team it's going to take a full 40 minutes if you want to come out with a win.
With how good Tennessee is offensively, it's going to be really important for A&M to make layups and to hit their free throws. Not only just because that's how they supplement their scoring, but when they score the ball, they're able to line up in that 1-2-2 transitional trap defense. And in years past, they've used that to try to get steals, to be high pressure. They still can get some out of that, but this year in particular, a lot of it just is to run time off the shot clock to where teams who are good offensively have less time to work with to work through their offensive sets. And they get, once you get deeper in the shot clock, field goal percentages go down for just about any team. So a lot of it is just, and that's one of the reasons why A&M is a slow pace team, a low possession per game team, is because they want the opposing offenses to have to slow down their game a little bit and work meticulously through the shot clock. I think that'll be important in this game.
Hey, did you see Wildens Levesque on the drums ahead of the Missouri game?
It was pretty impressive.
It was pretty good how he just picked it up and was rattling off a beat. It was pretty funny.
What was better? Wildens Levesque on the kit or Anderson Garcia as hype dance guy behind? Because that was
pretty funny.
That was pretty solid too. I don't know which one was better. I mean, Wildens Levesque was pretty good on the ones and twos.
Buzz Williams, of course, every time.
That's DJ. I mean the kit. We'll call it that.
Yeah. Buzz Williams, when A&M wins road games, he posts a little, culture picture or whatever. Mm-hmm. Did you notice Anderson Garcia was, playing, playing dead on the ground.
That's kind of usually his they always would make fun of him. The Andy's coming thing is for how he would usually take charges, kind of looked like Woody from Toy Story falling down when Andy the kid came in. So it's kind of fits his MO a little bit.
Well, you got anything else on A&M hoops, Travis?
Yeah, I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in this game. It's going to be a good test to see. Buzz Williams mentioned that he expects them to shoot at a higher percentage from the field. They did that against Missouri. They did that against Florida. The Missouri at 48% was the third highest field goal percentage of the season. They're never going to be a high 3-point shooting team. That you can just eliminate that out. But to see how they progress there, he believes they're going to be a better free throw shooting team. So to see how the free throw they shot, I want to say it was 71% last night, which was good. Real, I mean, I think he wants them
better
around
than it
75.
has been.
He wants them around 75%. So I think to see how that improves will be as important as well. But in the grand scheme of things, if they do ultimately lose this game, I don't think it's going to hurt much. It's a quad 1 loss. It's a quad 1A loss. They're like 6 in the net right now. So it's you don't want to get blown out, but it's not going to affect their ultimate goal of getting into the NCAA tournament that much. Now, if they win, it's going to help them a ton get in. They need to take advantage of quad 1 wins when they can to get them out of that kind of bubble conversation. But a loss isn't going to be hugely detrimental unless they just get absolutely shellacked.
Well, you might remember last Saturday, there was a girl who walked on the court and made a half-court shot. Her name's Liz Twist, and she came in studio earlier this week to talk about making the shot and maybe getting to meet Buzz Williams. So here's Liz Twist talking about the shot heard around Aggieland.